What's up YouTube, Poplar Mechanic here, and today we're going to be making the 194T great again. Alright guys, so we got the saw on the bench here. I'm just in the shop today. I just wanted to point out that I did put on these West Coast dogs on the saw. You see they kind of come with these plastic bumper spikes, and that's just not enough for me. What I'm going to be doing here today, we're going to change this sprocket. I want to go quarter pitch with this. And the reason I want to go quarter pitch with this is because then I can do pruning jobs as well. You know, and it just makes a finer cut. It's just nicer for pruning. And this one's going to be good for pruning and removals. It's sort of a mid-range, you know, between the 150 and the 201, which is great. So what we're going to be focusing on today, we already put the West Coast dogs on here. We're going to be pulling this sprocket, putting on the quarter pitch. I got a 14-inch bar and chain for it. We got the we're going to be doing the muffler mod. It's very easy on this particular model. You can get fancy with it if you want. You can get a little pipe welded on there that sticks outside. Looks pretty cool. In this case, I'm not going to do that. I don't really feel like cutting the plastic cover on this brand new saw. We're just going to open this up, open up inside of there, and then this actual cover, this deflector needs to be opened up as well. Otherwise, it's just too restricting. So basically we're going to be doing those things there, and then we're going to flip over to this side. We're going to do the timing advance on these. Now these saws respond extremely well to that. From what I've heard, all my 201s have it. It's immediately noticeable. It's just an excellent modification to do. So yeah, with that we're going to start with the muffler. So I'm not going to bore you guys with the cutting and things like that. What we're going to do is I'll do the cutting and then I'll show you exactly what I did and we'll just put her on. So we'll see you then. Alright guys, so we just pulled off the deflector. I just wanted you to see what that looks like inside of there. So you can see there's this lip. It's kind of hard. I'm pointing it out with the screwdriver, but I'm tapping it right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to grind that all the way out as much as it allows us to do. You can see that overhang lip there. So we're going to take all that out. And just before we got in there, you take out this one bolt, and then you've got a screen. Now I'm going to run mine without a screen. If you're working in the forestry, obviously you're not going to want to take your spark arrestor out, but I don't need it because we're on green watered lawns all the time, so we're not really worried about fires. And then once you open this up, you actually have to match this, because this deflector, unless you're going with a pipe or something, if you're going to get a little pipe welded on there, that's fine. You just got to make sure it sticks outside of the cover. So you're not burning it, but I think this is going to be just fine. So this deflector is really restricting it, so we have to open that up as well. You can see it just forces the air downward. Okay, so we'll grind these up and then I'll show you what that looks like. Alright guys, so we finished up the grinding. So you can see that ridge that was inside there is now gone. Now you're more than likely going to want to take this muffler off. It's a safe way to do it. I actually just had Eric stand beside me with the shop vac while I was grinding to suck up all that stuff. It's best to take it off though and clean it out. So anyways, that ridge is gone, so that's going to improve your exhaust flow. And then to complement that, or just make it work in general, we've opened this up. You can see I got a little far there if you look from the back. Not too terribly. That's not going to be bad, but if you get too far, what's going to happen is your heat deflector isn't going to deflect properly, and you'll burn up the side of you'll just let too much hot expended gases through and it'll burn up the side of your case. But you can see what I got there. It's not terribly bad, so it'll work out. So we're going to go ahead and bolt that back on. Okay guys, so we've popped the flywheel cover off. We're just looking at it inside. Now these ones don't actually have a wood rough key. What they have is the keyway is sort of cast in with the flywheel, so you actually have to file on the flywheel, which doesn't really bother me at all. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to advance this timing. Now what a guy wants to do is take, you know, roughly 20 thousandths of an inch off the I guess it would be left side if you're facing the front. And then what that's going to allow you to do is just advance that timing, so it's going to spark a little bit sooner. And the reason that works is because fuel actually takes time to burn. So as your piston's on the way up, it'll spark and actually start burning. So when it reaches top dead center, you'll get a full combustion, and it's noticeable, and it's noticeable right away. So I mean, I didn't bother doing before and after cuts. I know this works. Everybody knows this works. I'm basically just showcasing it here. It's going to be a pretty cool little saw. So I mean, there's a few different ways you can do this. You can mark lines. I just got Eric looking for a marker right now. You can mark lines where the stock is right on the flywheel and then right here. But honestly, guys, I do this with a hand file, and a lot of the times I just file and then I put it back on and then I turn it, and I, you know, roughly what I feel is 20 thousandths off of here, and then I'll bolt it down, and then to make sure that it stayed advanced, I'll actually just pull the nut off, because what happens is it'll sit back on that taper, and then you can just pull the nut off and visually look if you advance the timing without any marks. So that might be the way we're going to do it today. Another little tip is, before you tap this with a punch, now you can use a puller. I've got a puller in my garage. It's not here in the shop, but you don't really need it. What I do is I take some WD-40 and just spray it down there and just let that sit for a minute. Just let that WD-40 sit in there, and then you'll get a punch and put it in the hole at the end of the you know, the end of the threads there. You'll see there's a little hole, and then I hold it sideways like this. I see some guys holding it straight up and down. I prefer to do it this way because you're just shocking it off, and that way you're not punching the other side of the saw into the bench. So we'll just take a punch now and we'll tap it right off. All right, so I've got the WD-40 in here now, and obviously you can't pull that off without a puller. So what I do is I just leave it sideways, set a punch, and you're just gonna give her a couple of sharp. Now they can be tough at first, that's why I put a little WD-40 in there. Takes a couple tries. That one's really tight. There it goes. So just like that, that's how you get it off without a puller. And then basically we're going to be filing off this side. So it'll be the left-hand side if you're facing the front, about 20 thousandths, and that should advance at about 6 to 8 degrees. Okay guys, so we're ready to file the flywheel here, and I just use these little files. You see, I got these little files. You don't need a Dremel or anything like that. It's cast, and these files will cut it super easily. So now that I flipped it over, it's actually the right hand side once it's backwards that you're going to want to file off. So when you flip it over, that will give you the advance. So I'm going to go ahead and file that now, then we'll put it back on the saw and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay guys, so I went ahead and filed it out, and if you dig sort of, I guess it would be downward or upward. Well, it's a circle. If you dig down a little bit, I wouldn't worry too much about it. You can see the part in the middle isn't moving there, but you can see that this is. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, and you probably could go a little more than this, but that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do it like this, and basically I'm just going to hold it and then hit it with an impact. And then the other part is, this is pretty easy to adjust. You can also take a marker and draw a line on this and then put it in the advanced position. Okay, so you'll have a line here and then a line right on the flywheel. And basically that'll make sure that you know that it didn't move. But what I also like to do is slam it down with the impact and then pull the nut back off, and then you can just make sure it's still in the advanced position. Okay guys, so I did end up using a Sharpie. I could only find a black one, but it is lined up, so I can tell that it didn't move and it's now securely tightened down. It's going to be hard for you to see the black Sharpie here, but I can see it. It's lined right up to where the advance was. And that's pretty much the simplest way to do this. Now we're just going to put it back together. We're going to put the 8-tooth quarter pitch sprocket bar and chain on, and we'll go out and make a couple cuts with it.
Okay guys, so you can see I'm doing a larger piece of wood here. I just wanted to see what it was capable of. It's pulling through really well. Keep in mind you are going to want to adjust the carburetor, and the limiters, they're just plastic. You can literally snip them off just with some snips. It's real easy, but make sure that you do that. I use a tachometer on mine, and that's how I got her done. Thanks for watching.